He shoots a look at Kentucky, tilting his head to one side in some sort of signal. Kentucky pretends to be studying the wall beside her, trailing a hand along the dirty exterior. Because Chase is a smuggler. He knows the lay of the land, who can get him what call-in favors. He's the most likely to run into someone who knows him, so him and Skip handle that aspect of the business. So what do we do for the other dimensional categories? We get by. Kentucky interjects stiffly. Same way we always do. We make it because we need to. An awkward silence descends on our little group. I squirm a little bit in the sudden silence as we pace along the tunnel, the dust thick in some spots and fresh air in others. Our path is lit by dying naked light bulbs and holes through which I can see the blue sky. Spots of sunlight dot the floor, but these are few and far between. So, what's everybody's skills? I ask, hoping to break the silence. Kentucky perks up immediately. That's safe jungle. I'm the assassin. You need someone dead. I can arrange that for you. You want them to be tortured before they are enabled to embrace the sweet sensation of death, that can be arranged too, for an additional fee. Kai's the hunter. Jessie says hurriedly, getting a look at my expression. She's the marksman. Although, she does kill people. It's not on a regular basis. It's only every time we run into Hitler, or Stalin, or any other macho bad guy from history like Genghis Khan, but wouldn't that just create other dimensions where you didn't? Nope. Far as we can tell, and we can't really. None of us sliders affect timelines in any way. We just ghost through, steal stuff that is reported missing in any of the closely related branches of dimensions that are created after that point from that particular branch. Jessie grins lazily. Anyways, I'm the stunts guy. Any street fighting or deep-sea diving expertise needed. I'm your guy. I handle all aspects of Dimension 2 interactions, since there's so many rules and nowhere near enough time to teach them to any of you commoners. Don't mind him. Kentucky growls. He always talks like that in relation to his own dimension. Apparently, they still have some sort of Ottoman Empire ideal going on over there, heads of families and everything. It's a far cry from the setup you firsties have. I'll give you that. Jessie snaps back. But at least when we do something, we don't just run around in animal hides and hope for the best, with the extent of our vocabulary being, ugh, you wanna go. Sticky fingertips. Kentucky snarls, stepping around me to be face to face with Jessie. To his credit, he doesn't back down, but glowers right back at her. You're stupid. He sneers. Kentucky smirks. Well, you're dumb, that hurts, but my father's not the one on crack, now is he? Jessie grins triumphantly in Kai's face. Kentucky takes another step towards him, closing the distance. There's a deadly gleam in her eyes, cold and calculating. Tell me, she hisses. They say that underwater. No one can hear you scream. I wonder if it's true. Her implied threat hangs heavy on the air. Oi, Chase yells form up ahead. Are yous coming or what? Yeah, we are. Now shut up. I yell back. Kentucky steps away from Jessie, and starts walking stalwartly ahead of us. Never looking back. Jessie glares at the wall beside him, shoving his hands in his pockets and avoiding my gaze. Don't mind them. They're always like this. Dutch says from behind me. I spin around. Whoa. When did you get there? He raises an eyebrow innocently. I've been here the whole time. You three were just too absorbed in your own little bubble universe to notice that I've been behind you this whole time. Anyways, you were wondering about everyone's skills, right? Guess you just found mine. When I've a mind to, and I don't necessarily have to be sober. I can sneak up on anyone and everyone, including Kentucky. Used to be my job before I started sliding, and I've been sliding longer than these two combined by about a year. Chase would know the actual numbers. He's been doing this longer than me even. And don't believe a word Jessie said. Yes, he's got some ninja skills up his sleeve, but he'll just as soon rob you blind while giving you one of his innocent baby blue eyes smiles. That's his real skill. And Kai's not alone in her attempts to kill all the dictators. We all chip in when we feel like it. Chase can forge things. Letters, birth certificates. Notes from your dead aunt saying she doesn't approve of the shoes you're wearing. You name it, he can sell it as legit. Skip's the strategist. He plans the ins, outs, and all the details in between of any heist we pull off. That's why he's in charge, because he knows what he's doing. And Amar's our bomber/demolitions expert. I freeze. What niece going Dutch? You've just confirmed every notion she had about the radicalism of Muslims, that they might possibly be still in the business of suicide bombing even though they run the place. Jesse growls. His next statement is addressed to me. It not what you think. Amar used to serve in the army, same as Dutch. Amar was part of a bomb squad. His job was to actually put his life on the line and disarm the bombs that other Muslims made. Jesse hangs his head and rolls his eyes. You're not getting it. Amar isn't one of the bad guys. Most Muslims aren't. Shoot, in Amar's dimension. The Middle East kicked Renaissance Europe's butt, eventually conquering Britain, and exploring the New World. The entire planet is Muslim, and I don't think that there's much opposition. I have no doubt that there's some Christians still somewhere. Kept to themselves by force and not by choice, whatever. Do I hear some bias? Amar's voice suddenly speaks from the gloom beside Jesse. We both jump and Amar steps into the dim light, shining a flashlight into his face with a grin. I thought I heard some religion speak going on. I thought we had already reached an agreement on that. Jesse, you keep your faith to yourself, and I wouldn't quote the Quran to point out the many errors of your ways, specifically yours in comparison to the others. Yeah, shut up. If you're gonna blame anyone for breaching our contract, blame Dutch. Amar purses his lips as he steals a glance at Dutch, who towers over him by at least a foot, before shooting Jesse a nasty glare. You little sniveler, blame it on the big guy. You were going to call me an elephant again, weren't you? Dutch demands indignantly. I was going to do nothing of the sort. Amar replied defensively, taking a small sidestep to place Jesse and me between himself and Dutch. For the love of cinnamon buns, would you four hurry up? Chase hollers. We're coming. Jesse yells at the same time as me. We shoot each other a look, and I duck my head slightly. Well, would you listen to the two lovebirds? Amar teases. In response, Jesse shoves him hard enough that Amar slams into the brick wall and bounces off, stumbling before he manages to catch his balance. Stuff it. There's any love going around? You're involved, would you two shut up? You're giving D here the wrong impression. Dutch growls as he winks at me. These two will debate anything, be it choose to date life to religious values. For the most part, when you see the two of them together, just turn around and walk the other way. Heaven nor hell can stop those two once they harp in on each other. Drink, he offers me his bottle. I flinch away from the stench of alcohol, wrinkling my nose. No thanks. I'm underage. Never actually stopped me before, but there's something definitely off with that stuff he's cradling. Dutch doesn't seem to take offense, and simply shrugs. All right, suit yourself. More for me. He takes a long draught. He pulls the bottle away from his lips with a sigh of satisfaction. You know, the others say that I could outdrink 3 Russians if they took turns matching me shot for shot. And I'm a pretty good aim too. He grins as he pats his waist, where I can see a gun tucked into a holster. Not necessarily my first choice for a weapon, but little Cassie here does wonders if I need a quiet little job. He means assassination, but for him, it's more like self-defense. The only time he uses it is when people are trying to mug him, and even then, he only uses that little piece if he's trying to be discreet. Jesse grumbles. We can't all be spastic ninja warriors who can take out 3 guys with 2 punches, now can we? Retorts Dutch. I've offered to show you, but no, Mr. German warrior doesn't need any sort of assistance in the hand-to-hand combat section. Even thought that's why he got his dishonorable discharge and sent him on his career path as an alcoholic. What was it that dragged you into this whole sliding affair again? Oh yeah, you grabbed somebody else's drink in response to one of their callous remarks about your past, and how did you end up here? Snarls Dutch. As I recall, you snatched someone's purse, nicked your finger on a clasp, and hey presto, sent us all spinning off into the middle of a boiling volcano. Thanks for that. I don't think I've ever really said thank you yet, so there, thank you. Dutch storms off, and Amar rushes to catch up to him, leaving me and Jesse trailing behind. We walk in awkward silence for a while, unsure of what to say. I avoid looking at him, focusing instead on the patches of sunlight that are becoming more and more frequent. Dust motes dance in the sunlight, as if that alone was where they were, instead of everywhere in the air. It's kind of funny, unless something is highlighted, we tend to miss it entirely until it comes back later to bite us hard. I blow a strand of hair out of my face. But it falls in another spot that's worse than where it just was. I run a hand through my hair, feeling the grime that's already taken hold. Beside me, Jesse snorts. I glance at him, and do a double take as I realize that he's trying not to laugh. What's so funny? I demand defensively. Oh, it's not you. He manages. It's just that I find it funny that a little bit of black pressure gives me a new perspective on things that I originally never questioned, like what? I don't think I've ever exploded at everyone at the same time like that. You'd think I was pissed at them for something, which I'm not. Chase is probably right, maybe the black pressure's just a little too strong. What's the difference between black pressure as opposed to other pressure? Well, it just is. We aren't exactly experts on this thing, even though it's become a part of our world, but basically, as far as we can tell, only a specific group of people has black pressure. We call them the black, mainly because their pressure is only black. There's no color at all. Most pressure is shown as a color, and different colors of pressure develop into skills that are particular to that color. Blue pressure is normally personified in doctors and anyone else in the medical field, so that includes vets and stuff. Black's just there, it doesn't really have any sort of specific skill that is uniquely its own. We don't interact with the black that much, so I guess it goes without saying that there's no way we'd know much about them. The whole need of a large number of specimens as opposed to a select few. For all we know, we could only be interacting with members of the black that have black pressure, while other members have different colors. The others aren't too fond of my conspiracy theories, but I still believe that there's a reason why we slide. Someone developed the technology to cross dimensions, maybe even got trapped themselves. Somehow, in some dimension that we've never ever been even remotely close to, this sort of technology has spawned a multi-dimensional heist to get better products of specific things from other dimensions to use within theirs. For example, if people wanted sturdy chairs, just go back to the 1920s when quality was still more important than quantity. It's a poor example. I know, but to be honest, I don't know much about your dimension's timeline to actually give an example that would make more sense. I'm babbling again. He sighs with a breath. Sorry. I tend to do that, even if I come off as a little bit grouchy. I'm not normally like this. It must be how your pressure figures into the general equation of pressure present. The more colorful pressure around with you, the grouchier those people become. They can feel that something's off, but most can't actually see the black leaking out from around you. All they know is that someone is interfering with their pressure, and it gets on their nerves. For some reason, I can be totally at ease with you, despite the fact that I know I have a colorful pressure while yours is black. But as soon as another slider is around, I get moody. I guess it's about balance. I thought you said that you weren't an expert on this pressure stuff. He grins. Yeah, most of what I said is pure speculation. It's all theories, and the others don't even bother giving me enough time to explain it. I'm surprised you didn't cut me off somewhere during the black explanation. I shrug. It sounds interesting. Besides, you've got experience on your side. Jesse laughs. Yeah, good one. Just how long do you think I've been sliding for? His question throws me off. I don't know, a couple of years. Nope. I've only been at it for 11 months, closer to 12 now I think. Chase would have the exact number, really. How long have the others been sliding? Amar's been at it for 5. Chase for almost 10. Kai's been around for 3. Dutch is 9, and I have no idea about Skip. The guy's practically an ancient at this stuff by now. Wow, is all I can say to this. These guys have been doing this for years, day in day out, leaping across time, torn from their own lives and trying to make do with the one they've been thrust into. Pangs of guilt flash through me as I think of Mom and Will. They would have reported me missing by now, but how long would they wait? How long would it take them before they moved on with their lives? Maybe Uncle Jared would fly in, like he did when my dad just up and left us. He's always been good to Mom. It'd be best to have someone who really knows them around. But how long before he went back to his own family? How long until they were on their own again? So, there's no way out. I ask slowly, feeling very small all of a sudden. Jesse nods, catching my sudden mood change. Yeah, none that we can find, anyways. He stiffens suddenly, freezing in his tracks and pulling me up short. Hey, ow, what's wrong? I demand. He holds a finger to his lips, his eyes darting about in the dimness. Can you feel that? He murmurs quietly to me. I pause and try to see what he means. No, I whisper back. I don't feel anything, that's not good. He murmurs in my ear. That just means that the slides will catch you by surprise every single time. Slides, either one of us triggered it, or there wasn't really anything worth stealing here. I guess Skip kind of gave the game away when he decided to make a pilgrimage to Canada, Jesse continues, as if he hadn't heard me. My money's on the latter. Nothing down here would be worth their attention. Then again, they set their sights on the weirdest things, the black. Hold on. He grabs my hand and squeezes tightly. It's like we're suddenly hit by a freight train. One moment, we were standing still, the next. We're hurtling through inky darkness that howls about my ears. Then, instead of hurtling forwards, the roller coaster does a sudden drop, leaving my stomach somewhere high above us as we fall. Somewhere along the line, I realize that I'm still screaming, my voice becoming hoarse and dry. I shut up and cling to Jesse harder. Images and forms start coming at us from all directions, rising up form the black smoke to wail and howl, their mute cries joining the wind in a symphony of horror. One figure that rises looks almost human, and as it veers closer to us in its headfirst dive, I recognize who it is. It's the woman from my dream, the one who couldn't leave her post, no matter how she tried. Her lips part, and I can tell she's trying to say something, but the wind's too loud. A faint whisper reaches my ears, only one word. Hiyori. She reaches a hand out towards us, and I watch in amazement as a sword seems to grow from the air around us, held in her hand as she accelerates to be closer to us. She sweeps the sword back and it swings back in an arc, guided by her in an attack at my head. I scream and try to curl myself into a ball, but can't move in all the wind that pushes my body apart. The sword slashes across my throat, warm blood spewing from the gash, spattering her black garments as she grins at me triumphantly as I try to breathe through the blood filling my lungs. Fly far. Fly fast. And I wake up gasping for air in the middle of a busy road. A truck slams on its brakes, the driver swerving in an effort to avoid me. A form suddenly scoops me up and moves me to the side of the street with lightning speed, or at least faster than the truck could stop. Brown eyes wrinkle as Jesse smiles down at me. You've got to be ready to move the moment you stop falling. He lets me sit up, and a hand flies to my throat. It comes away with no blood, even though I can still feel the coppery taste in my mouth. I blink rapidly. Jesse kneels on the pavement beside me, tilting my chin so that I'm looking at him. Hey, you okay? In response, I turn my head to the side and puke. Jesse leans back a little, with a smile. Well, at least you're normal. If you had gone through a slide unaffected, I would have been worried. He helps me to my feet, and I realize that people are staring. Don't mind them, Jesse says. You almost died. I can't see them holding this against you. He loops my arm over his shoulder. I'm grateful for the help. My legs feel like jelly, more from the near-death experience than anything else. What happened? I managed to choke out. We just slid. We're now in A. He hesitates, looking around. To be honest, I have no idea. My money's on a 5, but this could be a 7 just as easily. Only one way to find out. Pardonnez-moi, he begins, addressing a woman close by. Ost nous, what the heck? Do I look like I speak French, man? The woman angrily demands, before barging off. Well, I guess we're in a 7. That's weird. We don't normally bounce back here so soon, we were barely in 6 for a day. Wonder what year it is. Just then some sort of flying saucer zooms by overhead, high above the pedestrians. Jesse smiles as if seeing an old familiar friend. Speak of the devil. It's a Chaser 95. I thought those were pieces of junk. Must be 1996 or something, judging by the way that it still looks new and yet no one's giving it odd stares. Except for you, anyways. He grins at me, making the comment non-offensive. It can't be 96 if there's freaking flying saucers going around. It's a Chaser 95, not a flying saucer from outer space. Jesse corrects me. And it's totally legit for it to be around. It's the first public model of such technology. Before the automobile makers got a hold of the plans, it was going to be a first-rate fighter jet, until the engineers realized that it wouldn't be suitable for the conditions they were going to send it in for. Plus the war finally ended before the first one could be tested. So these chasers are used by big tycoons so far. Limo sales went way down. I can tell you that much. I withdraw my arm from around his neck. I still feel a little dizzy, but strong enough to stand on my own. So, we're in one of my dimensions, but not in my timeline. Jesse winces at my choice of words. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But don't say that around the others, or Amar in particular will be all over you about how it's not your timeline. Your timeline is whatever and whenever you are, blah blah blah. Anyways, you should probably sit down. I'll go grab the stuff you left in the street. He helps me sit down on a bench before ducking back into traffic. I shiver and wrap my arms around me. Then it hits me. Where's my backpack? That thing's supposed to come with me, right? An instant later, Jesse is beside me, wearing a long black overcoat. He takes one look at me before he digs into the pack he's holding. He pulls out a black jacket, made of some sort of leather. Here, you look like you're going into shock. He hands it to me, and I waste no time in shrugging into it. Jesse shoves a bundle of clothes into the backpack. You aren't a neat freak, are you? I shake my head. Good, he hands me the bag. Try to hold onto this thing. You've got a computer in there that's top of the line in any dimension. I don't think it's even been made here yet. My backpack looks exactly like the one he's got on. Thanks, I drop the bag beside me, still not ready to get up. My fingers start playing with the zipper on my bomber jacket, and the texture makes me take a closer look. One first glance, the jacket looks like it's made of leather, but I can see the threads. Jess's eyes follow my gaze. Oh, it's bulletproof. Made of some sort of super Kevlar polymer. Is yours bulletproof too? He grins. Yep, and they found a style I like a lot. He does a twirl for me. I laugh and applaud him. My breath is moist in the air, leaving a little fog that soon disappears. I shiver and blow some air on my cold hands. Jesse holds out a pair of gloves and a hat, and I pull them on, gratefully. The gloves and hat are made of the same fabric as the jacket. Let me guess, these are bulletproof too. Yep. If there's anything good to say about the black, they take care of their sliders. You look weird in an overcoat, like you're headed to church or something. Actually, this coat is part of my disguise. When you're not looking, I book it to Tokyo and pretend that I'm the Black Reaper. But my mask smashed recently. So that's kind of out. What are you talking about? Dang, he sighs, a little deflated at my reaction. I was so sure that you were into anime. I am, but I just have no clue what you're referencing. Any true fan of the genre would. Oh well, the plot's kind of depressing anyways. I watched it during one of my funks, as Chase calls them. Speaking of which, we should probably go find the lot of them. He helps me up and gives me a once-over. I tuck some loose hair sticking out from underneath my hat back in place at the nape of my neck. Jesse grins. You look like you're about to rob a bank or something, with that toque and everything. What's a toque? I ask, slinging my bag up and onto my shoulders as we start walking down the street. This, he replies, yanking my hat off and dangling it in front of my face. His eyes dart to my hair. Yikes, he hands the toque back. You better keep that on for now. You have a really bad case of helmet hair, but this isn't a helmet. I retort, shoving the hat back on to hide the messes up hairstyle. It's more bulletproof than the stuff they used during World War II, so I consider it to be qualified enough to be classified as a helmet. On a different note, what kind of anime are you into? If you've never heard of the Black Reaper, aka BK-201, a sudden thought hits him. Please tell me that you're not into stuff like Sailor Moon, are you? Some shoujo I can live with, but not that one. Are you kidding? Do I look like I'm 5? I demand, feeling embarrassed. Okay, just checking. It's good that you haven't, otherwise I would start to think that you're a little too fruity for this kind of work. I can't stand animes that can't keep an accent straight for the life of them, changing nationalities with every single word. I growl defensively. Jesse breaks out into a grin. Actually, it's every other syllable. I can't stand that kid either. What's her name? Madison, Molly, I correct him automatically. Suddenly, I freeze as it hits me. Jesse bursts out laughing. Got you good there. Didn't I? Brandee, he teases before singing out. Brandee likes Sailor Moon. Brandee likes Sailor Moon. Brandee has a crush on Tuxedo Mask. I slug him in the arm. Ow, hey. That hurt. He massages the spot, grinning to show that the punch didn't affect him at all. I shoot him the nastiest glare I can. Trying not to laugh with him. For your information, I watched that one with my sister Will during spring break. We had an anime marathon. And she go to choose the subject matter, we should have our own anime marathon, maybe some of the others in on it. It'd be great. He suggests. I try to picture Dutch or Amar or even Kentucky plopping down on a couch beside us and watching some cartoony show with a crummy plot. Yeah, I have a hard time picturing that. I point out. Jesse laughs. Well, a marathon can still be a marathon with only 2 people. We could alternate between dark and funny, yeah, sure, maybe. How could he be talking about this stuff as if everything was normal? We just got attacked by that sheik, and she had killed me. When we slid, did you see anything weird? Jesse snorts. No, you just slide. One moment you're here. The next moment, after a sudden bout of cramps, you end up somewhere completely different. It's normal. Why, did you see anything? His interest is piqued. I shrug it off. No, just wondering. He hadn't seen anything. Not the forms, not the girl. Not the attack. Not my death. So that meant that the vision was for me alone, right? But what did it mean? The first time I had seen her, she had seemed excited, pleased to have met me, even trying to get to me. Was she trying to kill me then too? Why? What did I do? What possible threat could I pose to her? Do you ever get weird dreams when you slide? Jess's eyebrows crease, already telling me what I need to know before he opens his mouth. No. The slide is an instantaneous thing. You're here at point A and then wham. You're at point B. The only thing that gives away the fact that you just slid was that right before, you get a small sharp pain in your gut, and then afterward you're slightly disoriented. That and the fact that you're suddenly surrounded by a different location and vibe, and the pressure looks different. That's normally a dead giveaway, so there's no in-between stage, not that I'm aware of. He glances at my face. Why, no reason, just curious is all, he laughs. You're a really bad liar. But I won't press you. I'm sure that you'll tell me sooner or later. How do you do it? We met just a few days ago, and you're already acting like we've been in the same gang for years, like we've known each other our entire lives, yeah. Chase claims that I have reverse trust issues. I trust people as soon as I get to know them a little. But that's not true. I trust my team, and you're a part of it now, so I should trust you as much as I trust any one of the others. If you can't trust your team during downtime, then why bother even going on missions with them? Some of that Dimension 2 wisdom, yeah. You can only leave the city in teams, and it's pretty dangerous outside of our bubbles. That's why it's so important to trust the team you're with. You eat, sleep, and live with each other from a very young age. Learn each other's strengths and weaknesses so that you become stronger as a whole. Your dimension has it all wrong. A team isn't as strong as its weakest link. A team is as strong as its ability to compensate for the weakest links. The rest of the walk is made in silence. A good 10 minutes later, we reach some sort of high-end restaurant that spans 5 levels. Jesse leads me right past it, and guides me across the road to another park bench. It's nothing personal. He apologizes. It's just that I can't find out what identity to use if we're ever gonna find them in there. There's several layers of security, and different stamps on your credentials gain you access to certain levels. I just need to get away from you so that I know what we should use, make me feel like a spare, why don't you? Hey, it's nothing personal. I said. It's just that your pressure's somehow growing, so I need to get a little distance before I can even hope of linking up with them in there. With that, he crosses the street, pulls something from his pocket, sticks it in his mouth, and lights it with a lighter. His eyes close and he dips his head as he lights it, and lingers a little bit longer than necessary. He lifts his head, takes a few puffs, before spitting the cigarette out and stamping it under his foot. He then crosses the street and plops down beside me. The dumb asses are gold carding it. I'm not complaining, but we might look a little too young for that lounge. Pull out your bag of ID and I'll show you which one it is. Aha, got it. He pulls out a small booklet from his bag that looks exactly like an ID card, but is a gold color rather than the white that's generally accepted. I look in my bag, and find the only gold-colored card and pull it out. Slightly curious. I flip it over and am blinded by a quick flash of light. I blink twice to let my eyes readjust, and choke back my surprise at seeing the picture reflecting exactly what I'm wearing. Jessie leans over. That's awesome. Yours actually works. Mine always gives me the wrong hair color.